What's going on, guys? I'm your boy Stoyan. I'm a three-time world champion for MMA. I owned 400 of the Fortune 500 companies, and I hit six figures when I was only 4.
6 figures, I was only 4.
Nope, not really. But I have a lot of experience making money online, and in this video we're going to discuss how you can find your business niche and get started. So let's jump straight into it. But before we do that, you guys make sure you smash that like button. It really helps out the channel. Alright, so let's head to my computer and I'm gonna equip you for this business battle. No, it's not that sort of equipment. It's all about knowledge.
Knowledge.
The billionaire Warren Buffett says, the more you knowledge, the more you Lamborghini.
It's not always about the product or the service you're offering. Sometimes, even if those are great, your business will fail, and this is because the timing is not right. It's best to figure out what's the right timing for your business idea. And when we speak about timing, we really need to pay attention to trends, because trends, these are the things that can help boost our business or kill our business. And how do we get to notice trends? Well, we have to do market analysis. And believe it or not, most businesses don't actually do that. They rely on wishful thinking. So pretty much they believe this is going to be the next big thing, but they don't have any evidence of this. And that's why they fail. And there's other types of businesses who actually do the market research, but they don't do it in the right way. They rely on some data that is not very relevant, that's not very valid. So how do we make sure that the data we find is valid? It's simple. We can use real-time big data. So you're gonna ask me, what's big data? Well, big data is the idea that we can collect huge amounts of data. It could be the behavioral data of how our customers behave, or it could be data based on the purchases, the timing, that type of things. And I know what you're gonna say. No, I'm not a hacker. I don't know how to analyze big data. I have no idea of business analytics. I got your back, all right? Actually, not me. Google got your back. I'm gonna show you how Google can allow people like you and me to figure out stuff out of big data, even without having the technical skills. And no, we're not speaking about the Google search engine. It's a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more hidden so that people like the everyday users of things, they don't get to notice that. This is actually something used by business professionals, by marketeers, but now increasingly also used by bloggers, vloggers, Instagrammers, all kinds of influencers. So the purpose of this video is to help you find what your business niche is, what's the business niche with huge potential for scaling up, how the trends are in regards of boosting that business niche even further. But even if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're just a marketeer or a person who's interested in growing organically their channel, YouTube channel or Instagram, we're going to show you how figuring out data and trends will help you big time. You know, you're gonna be on the top of the wave of all the recent trends. So naturally, this is going to produce more followership, more interest in your products, in your content. So let's get started. Now that we're in my browser, you can see the layout of Google Trends. So this is easy to find. Just type Google Trends in your typical Google search engine, and that's the first website that can be found. Google Trends is a website by Google that analyzes the popularity of top search queries in Google across various regions and languages. The website uses graphs to compare the search volume of different queries over time. This is big data delivered to you for free. So let's check how it can help us identify a business niche. You get a lot of value from further understanding your audience, their needs, their desires, their objectives. And here we need to understand that desires are not something that we business people create. We try to identify those desires and tap into them. As we learn the desires of our target market, then we get to know their needs and how to serve those needs in a better way. So this is a big deal. Even if you think you understand your customers' needs, I will show you how you can find lots of unexpected information. Besides, even if you understand how to use Google Trends, in this video I will show you some new strategies, some new tactics of how this tool can help you even further. You will be exposed to 3 new different tactics on how Google Trends can help you. Number 1, if you're just getting started and you want to figure out what your niche is, ideally you want your niche to be trending upwards over time. The second way this works is if you are creating some content, for example, content marketing. If you're doing image marketing on Instagram, video marketing on YouTube, or just blogging, you can gather ideas for new topics that your audience is highly likely to engage with. You will spot these specific keywords that your audience is using, and if you have these keywords in your content, then you will make your brand more discoverable online. And finally, if you're creating a product or a service for your audience, you can check whether this would be in demand throughout the year, or perhaps it may be just a seasonal need or desire, which would mean that you get very slow and small business in specific seasons, specific parts of the year. So we can strategize to prevent this from happening, and I'm gonna show you how we can do all that. The most important thing is this search box here. Here we can give it a try and search some things of interest. So for example, to begin with, we can start searching something that started off as a joke, but I've tried it and I think it's quite a good niche to consider, which is vegan dog food. Look what I've just done. I've typed vegan dog food in the search field here, and I have immediately seen the number of times this term has been searched on Google. So in this particular field, we can change the country. If we're interested in one country, we can specify that country, or in this particular case, I would like to check the trends worldwide. We can also check the trend for the past couple of hours, the past day, the past 7 days. In this particular case, I'm interested in knowing the trend over the past 5 years because I would like to know whether this is a consistent trend or this is something that has emerged just now. And we can see here that this is something that people are indeed searching. And we can, with a little bit of fantasy, we can notice that this is actually an upward trend, okay? There are some peaks. Perhaps there's some events, major events that occurred between July the 30th and August 5th in 2017. But this same peak was noticeable recently in August. So maybe there is something towards the end of the summer that's triggering so much interest in vegan dog food. And we can see which are the countries within the whole world that have searched most for this specific term. And we can see here that UK, among all countries, seems to be the marketplace where customers are most interested in vegan dog food, followed by Australia and then the United States. We can also change this and look at cities instead of countries that are most interested. Well, it seems for this particular one that we don't have enough data. But if it were a more prominent, more noticeable trend, then definitely we would have more information about specific cities. We can also compare with some other search terms. For example, we may say, are there any customers that are interested in vegan cat food, for example? And this will allow us to compare these two different search queries and evaluate the demand for those products. Okay, we can see the vegan dog food, which is illustrated by the blue color here, versus the red color, which signifies the vegan cat food. Obviously, it is really noticeable that most customers are indeed interested in vegan dog food over vegan cat food for whatever purpose. For whatever purpose, we have no idea at this point. We're just speculating. But we can see here that the peaks are typically getting higher. So this may suggest that the trend is swinging upwards. And this may be something that we may just establish a business to cater for this growing need. And then we may even try to add another query for comparison. Maybe we can be adding a more general query, let's say vegan pet food, to see whether this is something that we may necessarily try to enter overall as well. It would be illustrated by yellow color here. And yeah, as I imagined, you would be worse off if you try to market vegan pet food as this by using this generic term. You'd be much better off by selling vegan dog food. And this has several implications. On the first hand, you can be creating this product, that meal for dogs which is vegan, but also when it comes to the advertisement, you are much better off by pushing some search related terms to dogs rather than to cats, because the chances are more people will find your dog product versus the cat product. And we can once again look at the comparison between countries. So it seems that the United States, the interest in vegan dog food is far greater than any other interest. In this particular case, cat food or pet food overall. If you would like to reset that and do some other searches, we can just click this button here, Google Trends, and this will reset all the data and will get us back to the starting point. So I would like to type something which is very popular now, which is Bitcoin, and we would like to see how the trends are for Bitcoin. And we can once again look at a specific location. By default it is the United States, but I would like to change it to worldwide so that we can look at this. Okay, have a look at this chart. It almost perfectly represents the price of the Bitcoin over time, over the last 12 months. And we can argue that people's searches on Google pretty much illustrate the demand for this digital currency. And therefore, that's why there is consistent growth in both the interest and the price. We can compare this to other cryptocurrencies. Ethereum, for example. Let's check the Ethereum, see which one is trending upwards, which one is more popular. All right, so it is very clear that the Bitcoin wins here. So here, remember, we're not necessarily talking about investments. We're talking about creating content that may target such topics. For example, if you're interested in opening an Instagram account that would be posting information about, let's say, cats or dogs or different digital currencies, this information will give you very, very clear indications which one is the best option for you, which interest is in higher demand. It also gives you a lot of information of the location where this particular product or query is in high demand. In this particular case, we notice Brazil is #1 in the world in terms of searches for Bitcoin, followed by Peru and Mexico and South Africa. And I guess it makes sense. We can try to find the logic here. It makes sense because these countries have had some volatile currency recently, so this may be what triggers their demand for digital currencies. And we can also see what other queries those same people have been looking at. So people who are searching for Bitcoin are very likely to search for AMC stock or GameStop stocks, etc. And it does make perfect sense, I would say. And we can also see here what people who are searching for Ethereum are also into. Quite similar, I have to say. All right, so the next thing we need to do is to check whether there is particular seasonality to a particular product. Let's, for example, consider that you're interested in mountain biking and you're doing it as a hobby, but also now you'd like to convert it into an actual business. You may start selling mountain bikes or gear that goes with mountain biking. And once again, we are focusing on worldwide. trying to get as much information as possible here. And you can see here that definitely there is a peak. By looking at the last 12 months, there is a peak in the spring and the summer months. And then there is a decline in the winter months. And it's logical because most people don't go out mountain biking in the winter. Here we are actually skewing the data a bit because we have selected worldwide, and of course we have different seasons in different countries. So for example, when it's summer in Australia, it's winter in the UK. So we can look at the United States in this particular example, or the United Kingdom. Both would work because both have the same types of seasons and also with the same cycles, the same seasonalities. All right, so here we can clearly see that definitely in January, people who are searching for mountain biking are far less. And when considering the UK, we can see that people in Scotland are searching for mountain biking the most. Again, they have mountains, so that makes perfect sense. We can see that they're also looking at other topics and other queries. For example, number 3 is mountain biking shoes, which could be a great indication of something that we may try to provide to our customers. Here you perhaps notice that these related topics are ranked by rising. We can change that and have a look at the top topics. Okay, but typically I don't suggest we change this. I would go back to rising because ultimately we're interested in checking which topics are trending, because remember, we would like to establish our business to follow a trending topic so that we're one of the first companies or people to start providing these services or these products for our customers. So this information can give us an idea to open business for biking shoes, for example. Nevertheless, as we mentioned that this is a very seasonal business, we may want to balance it by adding another business, by adding another sport. So perhaps we can be catering for 2 sports at the same time. And we may look at snowboarding. And the choice of snowboarding seems logical because when it's snowing outside, you may sell more snowboarding gear rather than mountain bikes gear. And yeah, we notice here that, yep, for example, in July, people are far more interested in mountain biking versus snowboarding. It makes perfect sense. And again, this gives us all kinds of information. Let's look at worldwide for the past 12 months. Well, it seems that there is something with snowboarding that's really skewed our results. So it turns out that from the 17th of October onwards, the interest in snowboarding has been rising steadily. So I'm not sure why this is. I guess it has to do with the seasonality as well. So noticeably, when it gets colder, when it comes to winter, people are far more interested in snowboarding. So you can actually try to provide products or services that go along both of those, mountain biking and snowboarding, so that you can make sure that you're selling your products throughout the year. And because we can compare with another sport, just out of curiosity, we may just put swimming to see what happens here. So, okay, so it seems that swimming is the biggest one. So if you're comparing those 3 sports, you would be far better off by choosing swimming, because it turns out that although there is some variance, of course, in the colder months, people are not that interested in swimming. Although there is some variance, even at the low areas here on this chart, swimming is far more popular than any of the other sports. So you can look at the interest for mountain biking, for snowboarding here. You can look at the interest in swimming, which is actually phenomenal. And most people are looking for related queries, which may or may not make sense. And of course, we can switch to top ones, swimming pools near me. Okay, these are all very interesting bits of information that we can take into consideration. So yeah, there is a lot of information you can populate with Google Trends, which can help you to speculate on the demand of a given product or service, but also it will help you out in figuring out the best keywords that you may adopt for advertising your product or service. Because instead of sports and products, you can be inputting variations of this of these just to find out which search term is the one that customers are searching the most. And you can use the same search term in your advertisement, because then when they Google it, your company would be scoring first in the Google results. Or even if it's not the first, it's going to be among the top. All right, so I hope you managed to understand how Google Trends works. And obviously it's a very powerful tool. Typically when I try to choose a product that I would like to sell in Amazon or drop shipping any products, I spend hours into Google Trends. So this is my starting point, and I obviously go a lot deeper. I look at multiple terms, multiple queries. I look at the specific region where I would like to create this business and sell these products. And I'm looking at the particular key terms that people search online. If you have made it this far into the video, thank you. And let me know if you have any questions down below. Any feedback, any comments are more than appreciated, and I do try to reply to everybody. Let me know if you have any ideas for future topics, and I'm definitely going to consider those. And if you haven't done that already, please consider smashing this like button as well as subscribing. That's it. Have a nice rest of the day and peace out.